Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Sunset Trail's September version of Cub Scout Roundtable Breakout. Thanks for being here. Come on in, Whale. Have a grab a seat if you want. You're not here? Of course not here. Okay. First thing is, as always, first, attendance. Please sign in, name, rank, serial number. I'm going to go ahead and pass that to you just to make it go quicker. If you're a commissioner, go ahead and write commissioner stuff on there. You're not with a unit necessarily. If you're with a unit, please let me know. Please do your best to write legibly for your email address. One of the three reasons why I asked you to sign in is at the end of the evening tonight, I will send you all an email with a pointer to a location on a Google Drive where all of these flyers and my slides exist in digital format, PDF files. You can download them, share them with your friends, your family, whoever might want to learn for eternity. They're all yours. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, if you are working on Scouters training, Cub Masters Key, or Den Leaders training awards, there are requirements in there to engage with your district and or council. As in come to Roundtable. If it ever comes up that Joe Cub Master puts in for Scouters training and somebody has to really go to Roundtable, we got your back. We got those records. So sign in if that's what you're up to. Number three, what is number three? Number three is we're keeping track of every single pack that sends somebody to Roundtable. And those packs that aren't sending any Scouters to Roundtable are getting the nasty gram from my district commissioner, from my district executive. Why are you not coming to Roundtable? So your pack gets credit for you coming here this evening. You'll get the nice letter from me. Greetings, come on back to Roundtable. It's great to have you. So please do sign in. I promise we do not share, sell, barter, trade, any of that information. This is all strictly for Roundtable staff use only. Greetings, Mary.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well.
Hi, Mary.
So thanks for being here. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 4 months, you probably know that there's some breaking news. I've got about 3 or 4 things to tell you about. For those of you who were here last month, there's a few repeats, but there is new material in here that's new as of the past like 3 weeks. So tune in. Don't fall asleep. This is important. First and foremost, if you haven't heard, Executive Board ratified the resolution amending leadership standards. For most of us, this doesn't matter. If you're a committee chair, you're a chartered org rep, it kind of does. It's important that you understand this. Effective immediately, chartered organizations have the ultimate authority to decide who can or cannot be an adult leader. There is no blanket exclusion from BSA National anymore. So your chartered organization, should it choose to, could enact a policy to exclude people on sexual orientation, faith, red hair, doesn't matter. They have that purview. But it's important that they convey that to the units that they charter through the charter organization representative. So if you're a Cub Master, if you're a unit leader, make sure to have this conversation with your chartered org rep, with your chartered organization leadership. Anybody here from LDS? You probably are going to hear from the wards coming down through the stakes. I imagine for the rest of us, who are community units, you might have this conversation with your PTO, your PTA, your church, the Elks Club, the Masonic Lodge, the VFW, whoever. Make sure that they know that this is their responsibility. The important point here is, in the absence of a policy, the default is to be inclusive. We take each and every adult applicant as they are on their own and judge them on their own merits. Does everybody have any questions about that? Excellent. As always, BSA National requires that potential adult leaders must subscribe to the values expressed by the Scout Oath and Scout Law. That's fundamental. There's a declaration of religious principle, as well as the one that trips some of us up sometimes for being silly. Your behavior. You are a role model. Your behavior should exemplify those of good conduct and respect for others. So be a good role model for our Cub Scouts. Part of your job, committee chairs, chartered org reps, is to vet and bring in quality leadership, so make sure that's on your mind. Questions? Makes sense? Great. Fantastic. Council is requiring all direct, you just heard this, direct contact adult leaders to be fully trained. Fully trained is position-specific training and valid youth protection. We'll get to youth protection in just a second. Direct contact leaders are den leaders and all their assistants, all the way from Tiger to Arrow of Light, and Cub Masters and their assistants. Okay? We've had some questions recently about, am I fully trained, am I not fully trained? If you have questions, if you're not sure, please ask. I can look it up for you. It's really easy. If your pack has, I've been told this by council, if your pack has greater than 0 untrained direct contact leaders, your charter will not post. If that's not corrected, your pack will cease to exist as of January 1st, 2016. Don't let that happen. Please. This is from the council. I'm just telling you, it's not my policy, although training is a good thing. Online training has changed if you haven't noticed. Daryl can tell you a lot about this if you have questions. MyScouting.Scouting e-learning is now defunct. It is gone. They have removed it. It is now my.scouting.org. Yes, it drives me nuts too. Just remember, my.scouting. The login and password is exactly the same. Let me walk you through this real quick. This is the first thing you'll see. You click up here on the home button, you get a drop down. For me, I've got some stuff on my pack. I've got some stuff on the district. Don't worry about that. What you're looking for is my dashboard right here. Click on my dashboard, and it'll take you to this set of things with my training. The default, the first thing you'll see is YPT. You can take youth protection right here. It tells you when you last took it, if you need to take it again. If, for instance, you're looking for the new e-learning for the direct contact leaders, the position-specific leader training, you want to go to the training center right there. It'll show you 4 different menus: Cub Scout, Boy Scout, Venturing, Varsity, and other. You got that right? About that. The funny thing here is you got to click the arrow, right? You click on Cub Scout, I don't think it does anything. Last I checked. So click the arrow, and it'll take you to this nice page where if you scroll down, notice there's a big scroll bar here. It just got started with Tiger Cub. There's a ton of it down there. Tiger Cub, Wolf, Bear, Weevils, right? It's just
now there's 3 main sections.
3 main sections.
Den leader.
This was probably an earlier screen cap, right?
Go to the next one.
Oh, the next one. I'm saying go back to the thing.
Okay. So on that, under Cub Scout, there's the top section there.
Yeah.
And under the fast now, the leader position training, it's broken into 3 main sections. The den leader, Cub Master, and Pack Committee.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then each of those 3 sections has 3 subsections that it takes you over. It'll say take this course, and then it'll take you to another website, which is the Scouting U.
Right.
And you have to log in again.
Oh, you do? Oh, man.
It's the same.
It's the same login.
It's your my.scouting login, but you have to log in again.
Oh, man.
And then you get to a new page, and then on the bottom, you click on Cub Scouts,
I should have done these screen caps more recently because they keep changing.
Which is on the left. There's a bunch of other ones for all the other programs that say coming soon. They're not up yet.
So,
Cub Scouts, and then you have the option to take the 3 courses: the Den Leader training, the Cub Master training, and the Pack Committee.
They're all broken out into modules.
Yes.
And for instance, you're taking Pack Committee right now, and there must be at least 18 modules, right? Something like that.
If you come to the training that they're doing, the in-person training, you'll get done much faster.
We'll get there in a second.
And not all of the modules are up yet.
That's a good point. I think you're doing Pack Committee. I think all the Den Leader modules are there. I think. I wouldn't know. You don't think so? Okay.
No,
I'm not surprised.
A couple hours ago.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this is you don't have to sit in your chair for the entire time and get from start to finish the training. You can do it in a modular basis. You can do it one by one for an hour in your pajamas at 2 a.m. Nobody cares, and come back later and do the next part. It's okay. So that's the good thing. The downside is I've heard from Stephen Gold it takes roughly 3 hours to get through Den Leader training, whereas before it was about 45 minutes. The good thing is it's very in depth, right?
Yeah, and a couple of, we tried it on a couple of different computers. After you're done with each section in the module itself, there's a check mark. The last one doesn't necessarily check, so you have to actually go to, click on a previous part of the module, and then it will check that.
Okay.
And if you exit out without checking that, it can bump you up, or you have to start all over again. So make sure that every one of those little boxes, including that bottom one, is checked off before you go out of it.
It's tricky.
It is.
Okay.
It still has bugs.
But the point is that all this is through my.scouting now, not myscouting.scouting. So make that note to go back. I wanted to make a point here of if you wanted to go and do this is scouting, which is required for Scouters training, Den Leaders training, and Cub Masters Key. That's in here. This is scouting. So that's how you traverse this. It is a little buggy. Some of the modules aren't available yet. Just keep that in mind. Be patient. Do the best you can. Would be my suggestion. Any thoughts, questions, or concerns? Okay. Yes,
Is there any way I can look up how my people are doing on this?
in terms of where they're at progressing through training, or in terms
Yeah.
of their complete or not complete?
Yeah.
Are you
Either of those.
Keith, you're Cub Master, right?
Yeah.
You can get on my dot scouting and go to your unit's training, it's, let's see if I can go back here. Come on. Okay, so you're gonna have a pack drop down like this. And if you click on that in your pack, on my dot scouting, it'll drop down to about 6 or 7 different tools that you can use. One of them is a training manager. If you go in there, you'll see who's trained, who's not trained, who needs what. You can create a bunch of reports for you, not the least of which being youth protection, whose youth protection expires on what date. And all that stuff is right there.
So who has access to that? Just
Key 3, Cub Master, committee chair, and COR, and I believe that they can delegate that to somebody as well. Is that anybody? Yeah? Okay, so they can delegate that. Just make a pack trainer or something like that. But the key 3 are the fundamental ones. Further questions? Yes?
So if you did the modules before, do you have to redo the new set of modules?
As in before, like
Like a month ago before this took part?
they're totally different. It's night and day. It's a completely new thing. If you were trained before, if you completed training, you're done. You're trained for life. You don't have to go and do it again. I would like to go see what this is all about. I'm going to go do it someday. But if you can wear that training patch, you're good. Don't worry about it. But make sure that the database has you check with your CC, your Cub Master, make sure they look it up, talk to me. I can look it up and make sure that you're trained. It's in the database because we've had things where people have gone to training, for instance, before their registration cleared council. And so when your training is done, you're not in the database, they search for you, you're not there. Well, okay, shuffle, and then you hit your application hits, they see you have YP, that's great, but then your training isn't in there. So if you have a card, you can send it to myself, to our district commissioner, and we can plug that in for you. I've done a couple of those in the past month or so. I don't mind doing that.
Never lose that.
Never lose that card. Further questions?
They are the actual permanent.
There is a lot of good training in those modules, and there's lots of good refreshers. They break it down from, you name it. I mean, there's another den discipline like that we're doing tonight. There's uniforms. There's what the Cub Master should be doing. There's many different trainings in there that are good refreshers, even if you've already been trained.
Right.
So.
Okay, so if you decide you don't want to do it online because it takes 3 hours to get together your games, there are 3 other options for getting trained. The first one is, like tonight, Margot is down the hall teaching supposedly some Cub Masters how to be Cub Masters, which is C32, I think, or something. Next month, if you're a den leader and you need training, she'll be training den leaders. She usually gets done within about an hour and a half or 2 hours. She starts at 6:30. She's usually done about 8. Margot does a fantastic job. This Saturday is the other option, number 3. Our district has an omnibus training. I think you just heard about it over at the 99th Street's Beaverton Stake Center. Margot's teaching all of those. Cub Master, Den Leader, Pack Committee, Pack Trainer, whatever. This is great for communities. Yes?
Where is she training? Where? I'm just looking for the Cub Master training right now.
Oh, down the hall. I'm sorry.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hurry.
That's great. Sorry. Appreciate all this.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Huh?
Are you
Pleasure to
Mike?
meet you.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to meet you. Sorry to interrupt.
Did you get what you need? Did you get what you need for flyers and stuff? Excellent.
I'll come back.
Saturday stuff?
Okay, Saturday, Beaverton Stake Center, 99th. There's a flyer on the table. I am less prepared today. What you're looking for is this. It's something I create mostly every month. It has a breakdown of all the training that's coming. I like this because when I recruit a den leader, I can hand them an application and say, here, fill out the application. Here's where to get trained. Take a handful if you need it. I don't mind. And this is a little flow chart for Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts venturing of what you need to get trained. So Saturday's great if you can hit it. I have no idea when the next omnibus is going to be. This Saturday is the last one on the schedule for this calendar year. Usually there's something, sorry, Mary?
They'll probably do something at university.
That's true. University, if you're not trained, I've been told they'll pull you aside the first class and you will get trained. That's what Jack told me. And you can, right?
University of Scouting will have each of the trainings, Cub Master, den leader and committee, they're 2 hours long. So when you register, you have to register for those.
Well, you do have to
And
register.
they're at various times during the day, so.
Jack was talking about just kidnapping people and saying, no, you're not going to this.
Well, he
you're
may
going-"
be kidnapping people at the appropriate time.
Right, okay. So,
Also, youth protection will be there.
oh, excellent. I saw that. I don't think that was offered last year, was it?
It was not.
Yeah, so that's
It is
good.
good.
I'm glad to
Yes.
see that. So Omnibus this coming Saturday is a great option, if not with Margot here coincident with Roundtable, if not University of Scouting. Beyond that, I'll keep you apprised if you come to the Roundtable about what I know. Right now, I know nothing. I'm sorry. The fourth option is if you can find a district scouter, a pack trainer, somebody at the council level like Karen here, that's willing to sit with you and do the training. That's a valid option too. There are PowerPoint presentations, not to put you on the spot.
Let me do that.
That's okay. If your Cub Master is comfortable with training you to be a den leader, they can do that. Your Key 3 can mark training for any one of the people underneath them in the My.Scouting tool. So that is an option. It's not the one that we'd prefer to have you do, but it is an option. Okay, we're going to get through this. As you've probably heard, youth protection is now going to be required each and every year, which means if you do not have youth protection taken by date or taken on date of 2015, you need to get that done. If your unit does not have all of its leaders, direct contact or not, everybody from charter org rep all the way down to assistant den leader, youth protection must be 2015. Okay? If there's a adult leader on your recharter that has a 2014 or before date, and I'm talking December 31st, 2014, your charter will not post. Your pack will cease to exist if it is not cleared. Yes?
Yeah, and if your date is in January of 2015, you really should take it again, because if your charter hasn't posted by January 1st, which
Kelly?
often they don't.
Kelly tells me that's not true. That
It happened to me last year.
it did? Okay,
Yes.
so to be on the safe side, if you're close to that, I agree with the philosophy, although Kelly Knowles tells me that's not true, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, we heard that wasn't true
Right,
last year.
so Key 3s, go into My.Scouting, get that training report in terms of when your scouter's youth protection expires, and start chasing those scouters down. It's it's only 35 minutes out of your life. It's a good thing. We're making sure that our scouts are safe. I had an example last month of why this is a good thing, and it actually happened to our pack on a hike. It's a good thing to have that stuff fresh in our minds. Questions about this? Yes.
Is there a way for us to tell the parents have completed youth protection? or
Not that I'm
only
aware of,
residents?
unless they keep their certificate. The database only has registered adult leaders.
Didn't all the parents who participated in camp have youth protection? Because I'm sure our units did. And we told everybody they couldn't go to camp unless they had it.
If that's a unit policy, I applaud that.
Well, no, I thought that was the camp policy.
Not the camp that I went to.
Some camps.
I think the camps at least the ones that we went to, you had to have at least
2.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
I mean, you had, depending on the number of scouts, if you had two
Well,
parents
all our
going,
parents who were-
one has to be a registered leader, and at least one has to be YP trained. So,
Yeah.
but it could be camp to camp for sure. All right, new applications, FYI, this is for CCs and CORs in particular. There is a new application version, it's called the 2015 version. Council office is accepting the old version until October 1st. After then, throw them away, recycle them. Look for the code 115 on the bottom right of the front page. There's a flyer over here that somebody created at council, so they don't know which way is up. It's upcoming changes and other things. Look for the image of the adult and the youth application. It spells this stuff out.
Did the youth applications change or not?
In theory, they did. I don't know if there's as much of a difference. They removed a signature line because it was confusing, and there might have been like one other thing.
I have a stack of the old ones.
Just go down and get a new stack.
Okay.
And I believe 115 is true for the youth apps, isn't it?
I believe so.
I think so. Just check that number.
Okay, yeah, same for the Boy Scouts.
Yep.
youth applications.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Questions? So synthesize this all together for a successful recharter. Anthony's talking about this right now, but I'll give this to you too. Every adult needs a 2015 YPT date. Every direct contact leader needs to have position-specific leader training. And if there are any applications for adults in your recharter, they need to be in the new versions. That's it. Whew, okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Volz. I am your Cub Scout Roundtable Commissioner here in the Sunset Trail District, and this is...
My name is Daryl Crossman, and I'm Mike's assistant. I'm Roundtable staff.
We are your resources. If you have an issue, a problem, a question, I welcome you to call me. Daryl likes to have his phone on quiet. Email us, whatever. If it's my Cub Master's a limp noodle, I need a new one. If it's I don't know what's going on with this advancement thing, Daryl's great with advancement. He is my advancement guru, and he's becoming the training guru. So if you have questions, have concerns, call me, email Daryl. We are your resources. Please don't hesitate. Anything to add to that? Excellent. How many Cub Masters? Anybody? You guys are all trained, right? Excellent. And assistants? Anybody assistant Cub Master? Rock and roll.
Enter.
Den leaders. How many den leaders and assistant den leaders we got? A handful? Okay, great. I kind of expected more den leaders tonight. Anybody COR, CC, pack trainer? Good. Yeah, pack trainer, of course. And we have a few commissioners in the audience this evening. So we've got a good mix. This is good. How many of you are associated with LDS primarily? Another good mix. We got some community units, we got some LDS units. Great. Not that LDS makes much difference today, but it's always good to know. I like to see that. Today's agenda, we just did the news, sports, and weather. We're going to get into, I like to do awards. One award every month that at least we as Scouters can guide our Cub Scouts to earning. And if it's one that we can't earn, I like to also do one for Scouters. What can we do? I've been through a whole bunch of these, and we're down to an interesting one, Lifesaving and Meritorious Action Awards. We'll talk about 3 in particular. There are 3 right now that can be awarded. I like to do a cheer because I think that cheers are vastly underused in Cub Scouts today. It'll be quick. We'll get into, I was asked to do the monthly theme for next month. So we're going to talk about October. It'll be quick. There's some things on the table if you'd like, if you're a Cub Master, to use as resources for your pack meetings, if you're a den leader, for your den meetings. We'll get into our interest topic, and finally we'll wrap up with final thoughts and resources. Questions before we go on? Yes?
So the theme you're running, that's the one if you go out onto myscouting.org that has this is the plan for 2015-16, right?
Yes, there is. Is there the list of themes in the yearbook or not?
Is it book?
I'm not sure, but every year,
Yes,
pardon me,
they're
you got me all
published.
choked up. Every year, National says 12 months, 1 theme per month.
Yeah.
As of now, we've shifted to the Scout law points, and they have themes to go with it. So, and I mean, it used to be every year they'd shuffle the themes a little bit. To
And it
make
seems like they did that. We looked ahead a couple of years. Looks like
Okay.
they shuffled them around.
Yeah, and
So
whatever. So if you're following that, great. If you're doing your own thing, whatever. I just wanted to put it out there in case anybody's doing the themes. I was asked to do that, so no harm, no foul. Further questions? All right, here we go. Lifesaving and Meritorious Action Awards. There are 3. They can be awarded to anybody who's a registered Scout or Scouter with the Boy Scouts of America, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, and obviously venturing adult leader. You can be you can be 6-year-old Tiger, you can be a 90-year-old Chartered Ore Grad, retired on your thing. There are 3. There's the Medal of Merit, there's the Medal of Honor. Sorry, the Honor Medal. The Medal of Honor is different. the Honor Medal, and the Honor Medal with crossed palms. For some good examples on this, especially these bottom 2, see Scouts in Action section in the back of Boy's Life. Every single one has at least 2 or 3 stories about exactly this. And it's a good way to kind of get yourself oriented in terms of what do these awards mean and what kind of actions, what kind of things can be considered for this in terms of heroism. Medal of Merit is the most common of these 3, and it's kind of the lowest bar, if you will. Awarded to a youth or adult leader who has performed some kind of outstanding act of service or a rare exceptional character that reflects an uncommon degree of concern and well-being of others. Over 6,500 have been awarded since 1945. It's a fair bit. And to give you an example, in 2013, I don't have any more recent numbers, almost 250 were issued by BSA National. So it's kind of rare, but it's out there. It's kind of funky blue and gold colors, but it's neat. And again, this is just uncommon degree of concern for the welfare of others. You tried to help somebody. It doesn't necessarily need to be at great risk to yourself. And one of the points that Daryl and I were talking about the other day is it's also, if you're a professional firefighter or something like that, you are signing up to do something like, to save somebody's life or to try. This would be in the character of something that happened upon you and you weren't expecting it. To put that in perspective, the honor medal, which is tan and red with a medal, maybe a word to youth member who demonstrates unusual heroism and skill in saving or attempting to save life at considerable risk to self. This is the kind of thing you see in Boys Life quite a bit. They really focus on the honor medal and the honor medal with crossed palms. You put yourself, this person put themselves in great danger to save someone else's life. You see a lot of stuff on burning buildings, saving someone from drowning, stuff like that. And it's pretty impressive stories sometimes. To put that in perspective, just under 100 were awarded nationwide in 2013. And over the course of the award, it was created in 1923, almost 2,500 have been issued. And the most esteemed of these three is the honor medal with crossed palms. Notice the extreme risk to self. That's the difference here. And there is definitely a subjective thing when you submit this. Was there extreme risk, or was it just you put yourself in harm's way to try to save someone else? 11 of these were awarded in 2013, nationwide. I was on an online forum recently, and there was a conversation. A dad said, "Hey, I'm proud of my son. My Cub Scout did this thing. He, helped save someone's life." And about 8 of us jumped on and said, "You got to put him in for an award." The interesting point is there has to be, it's almost like kind of sainthood in the Catholic Church, if you will. There has to be a witness, there have to be statements made. They kind of have to prove that it happened. But if you have that, if you have some witnesses, if you know that this happened, if people are willing to step up and say, yes, this young lad, whoever it is, a venturer, an adult, did this heroic thing, and you can prove that, it's worth putting them in for this. Any questions about this? Yeah.
Is there something that can be awarded posthumous?
I don't believe there's any restriction on posthumous or not in this.
Because we have a young man a few years back who actually gave his life saving someone else.
That's something to look into. Again with the witness statements and things like that, but there are...
Coast Guard has plenty of witnesses.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look into. Do you know anything about it?
I don't know.
Yeah. There's no verbiage about that. I know like the District Award of Merit it specifically says not for posthumous awarding. This one does not have that verbiage, so it may very well not. If you use a scout, there's also a different award called the Spirit of the Eagle that I'll talk about at some point in a couple months, I think, that is to honor someone who's passed, regardless of what they were doing before they were able to earn an Eagle Scout. Other questions? All right. Look at Boys Life. Look at the back of that section of Scouts in Action. Okay, this is a good one to get the blood flowing. Does anybody know the good turn cheer? This is really easy. You got to stand up though. Everybody stand up. This is a good one for Cub Scouts. We're awarding somebody something, and everyone wants to do the good cheer. You clap and you turn around. That is the good turn cheer. Thank you, guys. All right, October, Scout Law Point is Brave. Brave is a good one for Cub Scouts. It's simple on the outside, but there's a little depth to it. A Scout faces danger even though he's afraid. He has the courage to stand for what he thinks is right, what he believes in, and if others laugh, they never threaten him. I like that, and this is a great one for us to imbue with our Cub Scouts. Some ideas. Visit a first responder, participate in a service project. Have law enforcement visit your PAC meeting or your den meeting. Another one is to do, I've read this one, have a stargazing party, and that kind of imbues a sense of awe and excitement for what's out there. Something bigger than yourself, Cub Scouts, and how brave astronauts are to go up to the space station, all that kind of thing. There are some adventures that relate to being brave. Safe and Smart is an elective for Tiger Cub leaders. Pause on the Path has some stuff for wolf dens that's required, as well as Pause for Action. I believe Pause for Action has some first responder stuff, doesn't it? Probably. I think so. And then Build My Own Hero elective for We Below Zero of Life. Those are great ones to tie in the month of October. If you're doing this brave thing, pull it into your den meetings, pull it into your PAC meetings. A lot of the past stuff of Cub Scouts, the 12 core values, look for courage. They basically sent the Scout law through a thesaurus and made the Cub Scout stuff that we used to use. So all that courage stuff works for Brave. The theme is SuperCub. The idea is superheroes. None for facing danger even though they are afraid. It's okay to be afraid. Scout like a superhero has the courage to stand for what he thinks is right even if others laugh at him or threaten. I think we just heard that, so sorry for the redundancy. Those are some ideas. There is a handout in the back. It's 4 pages. It's kind of tailored for den leaders and Cub masters. Some skits, some songs, some cheers, a prayer, a few advancement ceremonies. Take a handful if you want. They're right on the table, and it's also available on Google Drive. So with that, if there are no further questions,